technical gremlins, but hopefully they're out of the way. And we're here for Division 2 for round 13 at the Canadian Grand Prix. How you all doing? My name is Jamie Morris, and alongside me tonight is F1 Schultz, also known as Tipper. How are you doing? Hoe gaat het?
Yeah, I'm good. As we can see, Joseph sets the fastest lap with a 1:18.747.
Decent lap time for him then. Also about
that. Next to go up to the line, it is the Haas of Yaram. And he probably does another outlap since it's a 1:27. Interesting strategy there.
It was also wet last season too, as Atlas Coppa goes into P3. So last season it was wet in qualifying, and it was Atlas Coppa was the one that won the Grand Prix after that fantastic overtake on both Saubers in towards the chicane, because Burmeister picked himself up a 10-second penalty after the Grand Prix as well. Adams goes up into P3. He is quite strong in the wet conditions, so let's see if Adams thrives off these conditions, and we'll see how he does in these wet weather conditions. Adams has picked up one podium this season, but missed out at the Qatar Grand Prix last week because he picked himself up a 3-second penalty on the last lap in the triple right-hander, which cost him a podium, as Velocio Jr. goes into P3, splitting up both racing bulls as Yusuf goes into P4. But so far, the Egyptian of Yusuf has climbed towards the top of the pyramid and put his car into P1. Not anymore.
So next to go up to the line, it is a Mercedes. It's Neymar, and he goes P5, and then MDJ goes P6. And sets a pretty close lap to the others. It's pretty close in the midfield there, but then it's President Elite and BRS Mines, who are in the 1:18s together with Yusuf.
Melrose goes up to P2 in the McLaren, then he's 4/10 away. President Elite is back towards the top end of the field there. I think President Elite took pole at the Qatar Grand Prix, but unfortunately just seemed to fall away from him. It seems to be the same situation for President Elite. Can't seem to catch a break at all, can the Aston Martin driver. And I really hope for his sake, because he has got such good race pace and qualifying pace, but something just seems to go wrong race after race. He finished in P7 as well. I think he made contact going down in towards turn 2 last week as well. So President Elite has got something to answer for in the last few races, because he's taken pole but just can't seem to convert it into a win or a podium as well. I keep saying that every single week. He took pole back at the Qatar Grand Prix as well, and he's been very close to pole as well in the last few races. So let's see then how President Elite does. Will he stay on pole position, but the conditions are still intermediate compound tyres. As Daniel says, good evening, thank you very much, mate. Good evening to you too. As Mona's crossed the line, but I don't think he's on a proper flying lap either, as Adams is up in the middle sector by 0.3 of a second. So the McLaren driver from Scotland, a massive wiggle on as he clouts to the curb. That's a very odd place to clout the curb as well. At the exit of turn 10, as Burmeister, the championship leader, goes into P2, but Adams there, a massive wobble on out of turn 10, which is very highly unusual as well as we head down towards the final two quarters we go. But unfortunately, the McLaren driver has invalidated his lap time.
So next to go up to the line, it's Yusuf Aruk. He is 9/10 up there. This might be a very good lap. Might get him up into the top 3 there. And a little mistake in the final corner, but he goes to P3. 1 second faster than his previous lap time.
Very good indeed, as Velocio Jr. once again makes it an Aston Martin 1-2. Last week, it was an Aston Martin 1-2 in qualifying when one of them, when President Elite took pole. In fact, it wasn't, because I think that Velocio Jr. qualified P3 because it was Ruda who qualified in P2. So it's so close to an Aston Martin 1-2 last week, but this week they're looking on 5-4 once again. The Red Bull across the line to go up into P6. Here comes Melnus. Melnus puts out McLaren on towards the top of the pecking order with a 17.893. And Melnus, when he appeared at the Qatar Grand Prix, had such fine pace, but unfortunately he picked himself up a 3-second penalty, but still finished in P3 during the race, as Samid has retired in the pit lane then. So his run on qualifying has prematurely came to an end. But Melnus is on pole after starting last in Qatar. who finished in P3. He was leading the Qatar Grand Prix until he picked up that 3-second penalty, which handed over the win to MDJ, who's currently sat in P7 behind his teammate as well.
As Adam comes across the line, he goes up to P11. I think that was an outlap, an extra outlap. But the track seems to be pretty dry out there. Who will be the first person to go on the softs and possibly the fastest compound of tires at this moment?
I do love situations like these when it's wet that it turns into dry, because I remember as well a couple of seasons ago where in Canada it was wet so the whole qualifying session with about 2-3 minutes left to go. It was dry. It was literally a water-shot qualifying. The last over the line had the best conditions, and so far it's the Dutchman of Klausler who's out there on the soft compound tyres as Jarman beats the timing sheets and Burmeister goes into P2. Burmeister has done 5 laps on those sets of the intermediates, indicating he's put a lot of fuel in the car for tonight. As we've got Adams then flying down the main straight now, it's very important as well not to make any sort of silly mistakes by hitting the wall too hard and losing your wheel, because you know that the dry compound tyres will be used, so therefore the times get quicker, the track will improve. As Adams makes his way towards the line, it's going to be a 70.001 and it takes pole away, but we know that the lap times will come down as well like a fruit machine, and Klausler unfortunately invalidates already.
And there's a Mercedes of Atlas Copo without a front wing. He might have collided with a wall somewhere on the circuit, and as he lets the Haas and the McLaren by. And OER Lord Danny Boy goes pole there with a 16.9. Exactly a tenth faster than Adams.
Well, it is as well. A tenth quicker than Adams and P2. A 60.9 there for the Red Bull driver. Lord Danny Boy hasn't looked this good since the Austrian Grand Prix when he got demoted into Division 2, because he has been struggling, it must be said, for Lord Danny Boy in the last few races. But can he find his form? Can he find his momentum as well? But majority of drivers are in the pit lane then to put on a set of the soft compound tyres. It may be a bit too early. The best conditions will come towards the end as well. It's very important as well, because this track is still greasy, still green, therefore does not have the grip just yet. And if you push too hard in the early stages of qualifying, you might find yourself in the wall like Alex Copo did, but he was on his set of intermediate compound tyres then to go with it. So these guys who are wandering around on the soft compound tyres can be very careful in terms of knowing where the grip is, making sure they don't outdo it and push too hard in the early stages and potentially crashes the wall and lose that chance of pole as well. So we'll be very careful at this stage of the qualifying session.
And we can see both Aston Martins and a few others go out on the soft compound of tires. They are warming up their tires because when it's raining, of course it's a lot colder, and you have to get the temperatures right to get a good lap time in. While the Haas of Yaram goes out on inters, so he doesn't think it's ready for softs yet.
That's a Ferrari type strategy as well, because back in Canada as well, where Ferrari pitted on the hard compound tyres, but others were the inters as well, that really mucked up their strategy that day. Same in Silverstone as well. But MDJ is headed towards the end of the first sector. He's 4 tenths down the first sector, so it doesn't look like these tyres are coming into play just yet. It doesn't really bond well with the track, so maybe the inters are just a bit better, but the crossover point is definitely happening as well. Same with Velocio Jr. I think they're going for a double push or outlap here as well to try and get the extra temperature in the tyres as well, because a lot of these people are sliding around as well on the soft compound tyres, so it's not ready just yet for the softs, as there is 5 minutes left to go. Qualifying is going to be very interesting because it could potentially come down to the wire in terms of who is going to be last towards the line and therefore get the best conditions as well, so we might see that come into play as well.
Cluster is the first one to have set a lap time on the softs, and it's only a 20.2, so the inters still seem to be fast at the moment, but that's gonna change for sure. And let's see who's next to come across the line. I think it's the Aston Martin of
Velocio Jr.?
No, yeah, he's starting his lap.
You might want to keep an eye as DRS is enabled then, so it is time to switch over to the dry compound tyres. It may be a bit difficult in terms of finding the grip and the balance there because it is a bit greasy out there too, so it's all about finding the limits as Joram hit the wall on the outside before turn 8 and turn 7 and turn 8 there, just clipped it, but luckily got away with it because that would have been a massive crash if it was realistic. But as you can see, 1.1, maybe Joram is thinking about abandoning this lap time. Head back in the pit lane, put on a set of soft compound tyres because you don't want to be doing multiple runs of set of inters knowing that the track conditions are getting better and better. Therefore, you lose a lot of what? You don't have that lap time to try. You don't have the extra lap on a set of soft compound tyres as well. So when he dive into the pit lane, he will. Very smart choice indeed.
Yeah, probably everyone is going to wait until like the very last moment to go out. We might even see some people miss the line. And everyone wants to be the last car on track to come across the line. So you have to try the most dry track possible and be able to set the fastest lap time possibly.
Here comes the Aston Martin of Velocio Jr. now with the DRS wide open. He's going to be the first of the heavy hitters to cross the line. It's only a 16.7, but I expect a massive improvement. As you can see, he's fueled the car for one lap only then. So it is a short track. You can get back in the pit lane and put on a bonus set of soft compound tyres and get out there once again. But, of course, Zedam has a massive slide out of turn number 4 that just saves the car, where Sebastian Vettel went off in 2019 and got a 5-second penalty, and Lewis Hamilton was the one to win that day as well. Unfortunately for Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari there, because I dare say from a neutral point perspective he shouldn't have got that 5-second penalty. I was very annoyed when it happened indeed, but unfortunately the stewards are very inconsistent as Klausler goes towards the top of the time sheets, but we know the times are going to be tumbling down as the track continues to get better despite having a hiccup down towards turn 4. Zedam is 1.2 seconds up in this middle sector. Can he keep it nice and clean as he rides the curb out of turn 10 there with the DRS wide open? There is only one DRS detection point for 2 DRS zones, just like at the Mexican Grand Prix, just like in Hungary as well. As we head down towards the final 2 corners we go, the One of Champions takes it in 5th gear, carries the speed as here comes the Ferrari driver as he makes his way towards the dark line. It's going to be a 40.6 for him and it's 1.3 seconds quicker. Expect these lap times to be tumbling down as majority of drivers though, Tipper, are still in the pit lane.
Yeah, like I said, they will wait to the very last moment to go out there to have the driest track possible. And I think there's McLaren who's starting his lap. It's Melness. He is going to be a contender for the pole.
Let's wait and find out then. Melness, who started down in 19th place after coming in very late in the qualifying session and finishing in P3, did lead the race but picked up that penalty towards the end. So here comes the McLaren teammate of Adams, who's now entering the middle sector, heading towards turn 10. We saw a massive crash back in 2007 with Robert Kubica, who hit the back of a Toyota, I think, and smashed and careered into the wall. And one race later, a future 4-time world champion, as Alas Copa goes quickest with a 14.2, but here comes Adams now towards the final 2 corners. He goes in the McLaren. He usually thrives off these conditions. Let's see what he could do as he makes his way towards the beam. He cuts the beam. It's a 13.8, and that is a great lap time there from the McLaren driver. As Zedam is up into P3, he's going to go for another lap time on these set of soft compound tyres then, as no he won't, because it's this and next lap invalid, so he's messed up his lap before he started. Huge disadvantage there, huge blunder for Zedam's qualifying as we ride on board with the Haas of Joram coming towards turn 6 and turn 7, takes the curbs very nicely, carries the speed through. I rather dare say he was being cautious with that particular part of the track, but he's 3.4 seconds up in the middle sector. Can he keep it nice and clean? He's nice and controlled on the brakes down towards turn 10, exits the corner, making sure he reduces wheel spin, but gets a bit of wheel spin on the exit, but nothing too much than that, as now he powers his way down the long back straight we go, where opportunities to overtake is available. Ask Alex Albon back in 2024 with 2 cars. Here comes the RB towards the line. The RB starts his last lap as we now got Joram towards the final 2 corners with the DRS wide open. Can he put himself on pole? The answer is yes, with a 12.2.
This is going to be close and very exciting. Next to cross the line, I think it is the Aston Martin. Oh, and President Lead has spun.
Oh, what a massive shame. Oh, he's been disqualified. he has been disqualified. That's very brutal because he just spun and the game has gave him a disqualification. What a BS game that is. That is absolutely disastrous there for President Elite. Will start down in last place. I'm not quite sure why the game did that, but maybe he reversed and the game acknowledged that he was in the pit lane exit. So unfortunately his Neymar goes quickest.
Whoa.
It's a 12.1 for the Mercedes driver. We're close to matching pole for 2024. The Canadian Grand Prix as Yusuf goes towards the top end of the pecking order. It's a 12.016 and now Melnus obliterates that lap time with an 11.7 and here comes the RB driver of Yusuf towards the line. He goes with DRS open, Burmeister open to P2 in the Williams, but here comes Yusuf, Mr. Joker across the line. He's up into P6 and Lord Danny Boy is up into P5 just behind him as well. It's Adams, look at him. He is 1.2 seconds up in the middle sector. Keeps it nice and tidy now as the exit at turn 10 will have a massive wobble on. As we make our way down the back straight we go. Adams heads towards the final few quarters we go on this racetrack into fourth gear as we now MDJ goes quickest. Evolutio Jr. 11.1 and MDJ costs the line. Here comes Adams. It's open to P7. What a qualifying that was.
That was very exciting indeed.
Well, that was a very exciting one to commentate. Velocio Jr. takes pole once again. Velocio Jr. has had the most, I don't know why I said that very weirdly, but Velocio Jr. has the most poles out of anybody this season. He's taken a lot of them so far, and he extends the record once again, but unfortunately can't seem to convert it into a win. So let's see what he could do here at the Canadian Grand Prix. You excited for this one, Tibber?
Yeah, very excited. It's pretty close out there. Only a tenth separating the first and second place driver, and then it's a bit of a gap to the rest of the grid, and it's also very unfortunate for President Elite to get disqualified for blocking the pit lane just because he spun, and he's gonna make a comeback for sure.
This is a very interesting grid. We've got MDJ that are up once again. Velocio Jr., MDJ set their best lap times towards the end of the qualifying session as Melnus pops that McLaren into P3. So this is going to be set for an interesting race. Burmeister looking for redemption after retiring at the Qatar Grand Prix, losing his end plate in the first lap. And look at that F1 shorts. It is nice and sunny for the drivers to enjoy this race.
Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting one. Will we see lots of varieties in the strategies? We might see a medium hard. Hard medium could also be possible. Or some aggressive people starting on the softs. That's something we could see happening here.
That would be a very aggressive strategy on the soft hard tyres. Bearing in mind, though, we did have a weather-affected qualifying session, so therefore people do have the softs. But I dare say, Tipper, because safety cars can come out around here, and it is very easy to call a safety car as well because the walls are so close. And we might see a safety car maybe towards the latter stage of the Grand Prix, midway part, depends. We did have a safety car, Tipper, last season. I think with about a few laps left to go, everybody was on the soft hard tyres, and Alex Cooper was the one to win after overtaking the Kick Saubers as well. It was a wet, affected race as well, hence why the safety car came out. But we'll see what happens here in Division 2 for the Canadian Grand Prix. It is dry, but will the rain come into play later or never?
So for now we can see the top three on hards, and Burmeister and Yusuf Shev. How do you pronounce that?
Yusuf, just say Yusuf.
Yusuf on the mediums, but that might change in the final few seconds. And now we see MDJ changing to the mediums too. And he is gonna have a look in turn 1 if he has a good start. And this is gonna be a very close race because there's a high chance of a safety car with the walls being that close. And this could be very interesting.
Hopefully these drivers ready up in time and we can get racing as well. I cannot wait to see what happens here. The best race at the Canadian Grand Prix was definitely 2011 as well. Jenson Button, after making contact with Fernando Alonso, spinning him out at turn number 4 and putting Hamilton in the wall as well in the final corner and getting 6 stops, getting penalties left, right, centre. Jenson Button was on his villain archetype ship back at the Canadian Grand Prix in 2011, but somehow managed to win as Sebastian Vettel, unfortunately, out of turn 6, made a big mistake and cost him dearly as well, and gave the victory towards Jenson Button. And Button was actually very good back in 2011, it must be said, because I think he finished in the top 3 in the championship, if I'm not mistaken, in 2011. One of his underrated years, it must be said. I think that's not much talked about back in 2011 as well. But yeah, he did finish second place in the Drivers' Championship. That was a very good race there for Button. Or very good season for Button after getting multiple wins as well. As we see then the formation lap underway. I know Hamilton and Button, when Button came into McLaren in 2010, a lot of talks about who was going to be the number 1 driver in terms of Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button. Of course, Hamilton was already there since 2007. Talk about 2007, it was Hamilton's first win, and 1 year later, unfortunately, took out Kimi Raikkonen and broke his front wing and broke Kimi Raikkonen's rear wing as well. As Kubica was the one to win the 2008 Grand Prix after crashing 1 year before. He won 1 year later. It was a BMW Sauber 1-2, I believe it was, with Rubens Barrichello in P3. And that was a mega result indeed for BMW Sauber, because Kubica and Heidfeld were very strong drivers. Kubica took the championship lead, I think, in that race, but was short-lived as well. And what could it have been for Kubica? What could have been for BMW Sauber if they developed their car in the next upcoming years? Because they stopped development for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. But anyways, then, move on to the present. It's his core Kick Sauber now, the green livery car. And let's see what the strategies are here as well. I don't think no Kick Saubers are here tonight. So the Kick Sauber team have took a vacation and they're not here tonight. As we see then, a mixture of strategies in the field there, Tipper.
Yeah, it's Veloce Ayub Jr. starting on the hard combative tires, then it's MDJ on mediums, and in the midfield it's pretty split up with people on the hards and mediums, and then it's Cluster on a very interesting aggressive strategy like I mentioned. He's starting on the soft compound of tire, and President Elite, of course after being disqualified, will try to have a look and come back into the points on those mediums.
Here we go then, as we line up for the Canadian Grand Prix. MDJ, preferably, ideally, should get a better launch with those medium compound tyres. His job is to get past Veloce Jr. Klausler, the only one on the soft compound tyres, in a 13th place then. As the grid is set for round 13 at the Canadian Grand Prix. Look up to the lights, look but never stare. 3, 4, 5 lights. And we are underway for the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's see who gets a better start off the line. It seems like Veloce Jr. has it covered, but MDJ behind has to watch out for the Williams and McLaren as they go side by side in towards turn 1. They fell down as we see the Williams and McLaren then continue going out of turn 3. Burmeister gets ahead for the time being. Yusuf, Mr. Joker, unfortunately spins in the background there as he's been demoted into last place. What a dismal start there for the Egyptian driver. Azedum does a Sebastian Vettel as he cuts the grass and goes off the track, and now he's side by side so close there as Jarem or Klausler was almost in the wall going in towards turn 4, turn 5 there, but so far so clean as Jarem's got for a spin out on turn 6 there, unfortunately, as he's dropping down the order. Jarem now down to P11, but here comes his teammate of Klausler, but he backs off for the time being, and now Azedum goes around the outside, goes off the track once again. That's 2 excursions off the road for the Ferrari drivers. Lord Danny Boy gets ahead of Adams for the time being as we go down towards turn 10. Adams back down the inside, in towards the hairpin we go. Can he get back ahead of the Red Bull driver? Crucially, he does on those mini compound tyres as President leads from 15th to 10th. Great start for him, but MDJ's right step back of Veloce Jr. He pulls on the slipstream. Not an ideal place to go. Side by side in towards the fantasy corners. They're going to do it side by side, and MDJ takes the lead with an aggressive move on the inside in towards the final corner. That was super aggressive indeed. Neither driver willing to back out, elbows out in towards the first lap we go. End of it, MDJ leads. And
Ayub will try to get past again, but it's gonna be difficult on those hard compound of tires. And we do have a little battle there with the Haas of Jarem and Atlas Coppo being passed again by Senon. And those hards seem to be struggling a little bit, but they haven't had like that bad of a start. And with DRS being enabled, Ayub will for sure try it on the straight after the hairpin.
As Yusuf there, looking at the back of Melnus. Melnus goes defensive on the inside, not allowing Yusuf to go through as well. Yusuf is on the medium compound tyres, so expect him to be a little bit quicker than the guys around him on the hard compound tyres then. And that was such an aggressive move already as well, because usually we see people, as here comes Velocio Jr., returning the favour as he now takes the lead back away from MDJ. So despite taking the lead initially, he's not able to pull away. But look at the exit MDJ gets, but no DRS for him, as Jr. has it with the 1 detection points for 2 DRS zone as we head down towards turn 1. So this is a bit of a precarious situation for MDJ, a bit of a predicament because he wants to pull away on those mini compound tyres. But the problem is though, when you have 3 DRS zones around here, it is so difficult to pull away on the mini compound tyres. President Elite has got past Danny Boy before turn 4. Unbelievable. Here comes Jarvan around the outside in towards turn 6. We go. Can he make the move stick? Let's have a look. They're side by side, so close as Jarvan gets to the curb, loses traction, more contact between those two, and here comes Zedam now taking advantage of Lord Danny Boy as he puts himself into P9 then. So a bit of contact between those two, put them out of position, and therefore Zedam claimed the place away. But back towards the front end of the field then, Velocio Jr. in first place. He hasn't won a race yet this season after so many issues he's sustained this season, and a lot of problems have occurred throughout the season as well. But let's see then, is this his biggest chance? It's still early in the Grand Prix, and here comes MDJ then with the DRS again, back on the Aston Martin, puts himself into first place. We see the RB in the background, looking for a move down the inside. Does he make it stick? He doesn't. He backs out of it for the time being, but gets a horrendous exit out on the final corner, and Neymar might be brought back into play with that one as well. So MDJ then retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. We're seeing many places swapped and changed.
And not to forget, the other Aston Martin of President Elite already up 8 places with a damaged front wing. The left end plate is off his front wing. And what a comeback for now. But he does seem to be falling out of the train there.
Oh, I mean, great places made up, but if he had no bad luck, he will have no luck at all. But he's sustaining a broken end plate then, unfortunately for President Elite, so be affected in the high-speed corners like this one as well. Turn 6 and, well, turn 8 and turn 9. Turn 9 and turn 10, sorry, be affected deeply with a broken end plate. So he might be able to, he struggle to keep up in that DRS train, and also he slides through turn 10, which allows Jarvan to be on the back of the once again. So we're quite sure where President Elite picked up that front wing damage, but it'll definitely affect him throughout the whole Grand Prix until his first round of pit stops. And I really hope he changes his thing towards yes instead of auto, because sometimes they don't change his wing. And in the background, Jarvan gets past President Elite for P7 then with the DRS wide open. Is there a possible chance that Jarvan can catch up towards that DRS train and get himself in a fighting chance as well towards the top end of the field, because the top 6 have pulled away. Jarvan now leads that second pack of the DRS train, and once you put the DRS train, as me and F1 Shorts and MDJ knows, it is so difficult to get yourself back in DRS range.
Yeah, it is indeed. That's going to be difficult for Jarvan to get back into DRS, but the chances of a safety car are pretty high, so it's not over yet for him. And it seems like MDJ is already getting a pretty big gap there to Veloce Jr.
0.7 of a second then is the gap between first and second, so MDJ is pulling away slightly. Here comes Samid up the inside of Zedam then, so down into towards turn 10. That is an optimistic move, but doesn't seem to pay off for the time being then. He has to sit behind the Ferrari, wait for another opening. Let's see where that is. Maybe towards the final corner, maybe towards turn 1. Let's see how it all unfolds. Going in towards the final few corners we go, as Zedam picks himself up a 3, a second, a time penalty. Another one, like I said, but Burmeister, the championship leader, is all over the back of Velocio Jr., but able to make a move as President Elite there just gets back in front of Jarvan. And so despite the lack of performance on the front end of the car, he squirms away out of turn number 3, so suggesting to me that he seems to be losing traction as well, as he's absolutely struggling with a broken car there with the Haas right behind. But MDJ has pulled away and broken the DRS towards Velocio Jr. too, as President Elite gets unscurrily out of turn 6 and turn 7 once again.
Yeah, MDJ is using all of his battery. He's on 20%, while Ayub Jr. is on 55. So he's really trying to get out of the DRS there. Burmeister will be looking to overtake Ayub Jr. too, since he's on the mediums, but that's gonna be difficult unless Veloce Jr. falls out of the train there. If MDJ uses, well, he doesn't have any ERS anymore, so I was gonna say if he uses ERS, but it's getting close again.
And he used a lot of his battery, and he's taking the pain once again, as here comes the Ferrari, and the Haas getting so close in towards turn 1. It's a very late lunge there, or very late braking for Jorm going down towards turn 1, but keeps it on the track, makes the corner stick, and stays in P9. But maybe MDJ tried to save a battery for one lap and gave it. Lord Danny Boy almost lost the car. And here comes Jorm on the outside in towards the fast. They made contact, and then one of them's lost their plates, which is Lord Danny Boy there, who has lost an end plate. As Veloce Jr. takes the lead as he goes up into first place in towards turn 8 and turn 9 we go. The Aston Martin is in the lead, and that's not a place you usually see fighting, but he's done it. He puts himself into first place. Maybe MDJ is struggling with a lack of battery, although he's got up to 50% right now.
This might be the crossover point, but I'm not sure about that. The people on the hards might be getting closer around like lap 10, lap 12. I think that's when the people on the mediums will be seeing to pit. And MDJ gets a 3-second time penalty while he takes back the lead from Veloce Ayub Jr. And there's a yellow flag at the back. I'm not sure for what.
That was for Samid, who has gone for a spin in the final corner, unfortunately. So Samid has dropped away from the train. Alas Copo has pitted onto a set of the really compound tyres. Last season's race winner, not particularly having a decent race so far here in Canada, but it was well last season. Neymar drifted through the corner at turn 6 there. He just locked the rears up, and that has cost him big time now. He has lost the DRS there. I think he just locked up the rear brakes, locked up the front axle, and unfortunately just went off and had a little bit of a half spin there and a big drift as well, which cost him dearly, and it'll be detrimental to his race now because he's broken the DRS train and he has fell apart as well. So the top 5 then left to scrap it out with MDJ in the top 5, the only one in the top 5 to pick up a 3-second penalty. A huge blunder towards his Grand Prix because last week at Qatar he picked up 2 warnings and no penalties, but here comes Veloce Jr. and here comes the Williams of Burmeister too, taking advantage of the Red Bull driver as Veloce Jr. now takes the lead. Burmeister capitalising, he puts himself into P3, and Melnus is still there on the hard compound tyres. Here comes Melnus with the DRS as he puts himself into P3, but not yet because MDJ is retaliated as we head down towards turn 2 to make a bit of contact there, and MDJ seems to be struggling with the mini compound tyres as he gets a poor exit, and now here comes the RB. It may be 4 places lost in the space of a few corners, and he goes off the track there as Yusuf Shabeg puts himself into P4, so MDJ had a rough time in the space of a few corners.
Yeah, he has lost 4 places there it's indeed 4 places in one sector, and Yarm gets a 3-second time penalty. That's unfortunate. Burmeister will be looking to get that lead, but his mediums might have fell off, and his ERS is pretty low there.
I think all the guys behind just pounced him at once, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
It's a shame for MDJ there because he was running a solid race, but all the guys just pounced at once. He got caught out massively, and here he is there back with the DRS open as he overtakes the racing bull of Yusuf as he flies through the final few corners there, tries to get himself in close proximity of the top 3 there. So Veloce Jr. is on the hard compound tyres. Like you said, maybe the crossover point might start to happen because MDJ is struggling on the medium compound tyres. Saying that, Burmeister has a massive moment out turn 2, and once again as well, Melnus will stay behind. He is very clever, not going to go for the move just yet, but I wonder if the medium compound tyres are starting to reach the end performance, and therefore these drivers might start to feel the effect of the medium compound tyres starting to drop away, and therefore the advantage might go towards the Harvarders because Veloce Jr. is actually pulling away from Burmeister. He's almost put the DRS, but Burmeister does have the DRS on this straight to keep himself in close contention and make sure he stays in the DRS range, have a good chance of getting back the lead of the Grand Prix. Melnus is right behind too. He's on the hard compound compound tyres, so his tyres should be in good shape and maybe better in terms of Burmeister, because Burmeister is really struggling for grip as well as we exit turn 10. Mona's got a lot of battery in store. Maybe this is his big chance because Burmeister is derated, clipping. He's replenishing the ERS, and here comes Monas now, side by side with the Williams driver who puts himself into P2. Monas up at second place, and the chase is on between first and second between the two Harvarders.
It might be the best strategy now to go for either the under or the overcut, since these guys are battling pretty heavily, and they will be losing some time. So if I were MDJ or Yusuf, I would probably pit.
I'll probably do the same thing as well, to be fair, because they are losing a bit of time, but they're still in this DRS trade. Maybe a little bit too early to go in the pit lane on these mediums. Maybe extend it out to laps 13 and 14. Maybe have to suffer through this phase by surviving on the older mini compound tyres. You can definitely tell. Look who's caught up. Zenom and Neymar. Neymar had a massive slide in towards turn 6, didn't he? And now he's up there with P7, right behind this trade too. So those guys who were attached have caught up. Zenom as well, up into P6 has caught up. But we know that man has picked up so many penalties, just like in Imola, when he almost got disqualified at the Imola Grand Prix. Maybe he did get disqualified, I'm not quite sure. But here he is in the Ferrari then, right behind Yusuf, who does not have a 3-second penalty. And in these situations, when drivers behind you, ahead of you, have so many penalties, you expect them not to fight so hard, because what's the point? As Yusuf is in the pit lane then, so Tipper, they've listened to you.
Yeah, interesting. And we will see if this pays off. And he's going to the hard compound of tires there. Will the undercut work for Yusuf?
We are about to find out then, as Malinus almost goes into the wall of the exit of turn 4 there. Just kept the car in control as Burmeister's just hanging on by a thread in P3 as well, although he's quite close towards the back of the top two. Velocio Jr. though is saving a lot of battery because he used a lot of it in the last few laps. And here comes Malinus then, once again in the same place as Velocio Jr. overtook MDJ. This time it's Malinus up the inside in towards turn 8 and turn 9. So we are seeing places in untraditional zones as now Malinus now takes the lead of the Grand Prix with Velocio Jr. catching him as well in P2 as Burmeister's right behind in third place. Burmeister still showing some tremendous pace on the mini compound tyres, but will Burmeister, the two Dutchmen, respond to the undercut threat from the Egyptian? And we're about to find out very shortly as well if these guys do come to the pit lane on this lap. Yusuf Shabek was the one that pitted. Will Burmeister and MDJ pit on this lap? Let's have a look to see if they do or not. No, they extend this stint for a few more laps there on the mini compound tyres, so maybe trying to get the tyre offset towards the end of the Grand Prix, have better tyres towards the end in comparison towards Yusuf down in P11, who just pitted onto a brand new set of the tyres. He's on right now, the hards. Samit then right behind now alongside of the Haas driver, who puts himself into P8 and just squeezes ahead despite a mistake in the final corner a few laps ago. Zenom's right behind too of MDJ, so maybe his hardcore power tyres are in better shape than the Red Bull drivers. If Zenom improves his consistency, then he is a... he spins the car! Oh my goodness me, I talked about his consistency and I've just gone for a spin at turn 6 and turn 7. Almost in the wall there. I was about to say Zenom. So, Timber, you don't know about the driver Zenom there, but he has good pace. He has good qualifying pace, but he just overdrives the car all the time. Do you know how many times he's spun in the last 2 seasons? Nearly every single race. He's had 1 podium in the last few seasons, and every single race, he just spins the car. I don't know how, I don't know why, but no matter what point in the race, maybe it could be towards the last stage of the Grand Prix, he just spins the car. Even when he's by himself back in Abu Dhabi, he just has a habit of spinning, and we have a massive joke around in the global chat as well. But yeah, I just really hope that Zenom just finds his form, because it's been a long time now since he's made the mistakes. Just making big mistakes has big complications for the race, big consequences as well. As Malinus gets a 3-second time penalty as well, as Neymar is right behind the Red Bull driver sorry.
Yeah, lots of penalties here in Canada, like expected, since this is one of the most difficult tracks, together with Imola, to stay within the wide track limit lines. And now Burmeister and might come in this lap, since we have to watch closely to Yusuf. He is gaining a lot. I'm not exactly sure what the gap is. It's 19 seconds, and the pit stops are pretty short around here. I'm not sure how long a pit stop lasts here, but around 17, 18 seconds. So if he just speeds up a little bit, he might come out in the lead.
I do remember as well in the older games where people used to do a two-stop around here, but it's just a one-stop in every single racetrack as well. So the pit lane loss is not too big around here as well. VSC or a safety car could change the whole trajectory of the Grand Prix. I remember last season as well when a safety car came out, as MDJ now pits from 5th place to go on the hardcore power tyres. I presume that Yusuf will get the undercut. He's right behind, now ahead of President Elite, as President Elite dives off as the pit lane. Neymar, a heavy hitter, has pitted himself with 3-second time penalty in the Grand Prix, but I presume Yusuf will get the undercut on MDJ. Let's have a look right now. Where is the Red Bull driver? He is way ahead as well. Here comes the other Yusuf on MDJ. Where is he right now? He's right behind. There he is in P10. MDJ then rejoins in P10 then with that 3-second tablet in the brand new hardcore power tyres. So one Yusuf goes through. I got confused, sorry, between both Yusufs. I thought that Yusuf Farouk in P8 was the one that pitted on the brand new hardcore power tyres. I was so confused. I was like, there's no way that Yusuf rejoined way ahead of MDJ. It was actually this Yusuf Shabek. Yusuf Shabek rejoined 2 seconds ahead of MDJ. So the confusion is over. That's why I paused a bit to see what happened, because I was so confused.
And Burmeister is already on these tires for 14 laps. Will he come in on this lap? Yes, he does. Make sure not to speed, and he does that perfectly. Maybe a bit too careful there, but we will see where he comes out. Will Yusuf come ahead of Burmeister, who is in the pits for the hard combative tires too, on board with Yusuf.
Let's see if the RB gets past the Williams. He does, so he rejoins just ahead, or does he? Because that Williams has a long run. He gets ahead of him. The undercut hasn't worked for Yusuf Shabek there, as Burmeister rejoins. MDJ is quite far behind too, so Burmeister with the mighty pace on those mini compound tyres actually did an overcut there, as Z17 has got past Neymar for P3. I wonder if the Mercedes driver picked up damage. He has he? He has. So the Mercedes have picked up damage somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that was, but he sustained a bit of damage to his Mercedes from wing, and therefore he's going to struggle until he pits. Not yet though, because it's a bit too early to pit on the mini compound tyres, but they're going to go for that long stint on the hard compound tyres, ready to go on the mediums later to hunt down those Harvarders later on in the Grand Prix. So good stuff indeed as we continue riding on board then with the Mercedes driver, as Velocio Jr. then the only one in that pack to not get a 3-second penalty. So Velocio Jr. is looking good shape so far. We know he's going to be the mid-compound tyres later on in the Grand Prix. We know he's going to hunt down MDJ, Yusuf and Burmeister as well. So watch out for him later on in the Grand Prix. He's had such good pace throughout the whole of it, but we're just waiting for that second stint. What strategy is better around this racetrack? Is it mediums to hards? Is it hards to mediums? Your questions will be answered in about a few less time as Adam's in the pit lane. And like you said, another one.
Yeah, Senan already has 12 seconds of time penalty, and Yarm sets the fastest lap at 1:12.2. This is going to be pretty crucial. This might even drop him out of the points.
Yeah, like I said, his consistency hasn't been there for the whole past 2 seasons or 3 seasons. But yeah, Z17 is a very nice character indeed. He's a very nice guy, and he does laugh it off as well, despite making a lot of mistakes. I like the caliber, the high caliber of Z17 as well. I like the mental strength, because when you spin every single race, in fact, when you know you got good pace and you spin, your mentality starts to fade away. You start to have doubts in your mind creeping in as well, just thoughts of thinking, why the hell do I even race? But to have such good mental strength to try and keep going every single race, knowing that something might happen to you, whether you're going to spin or not, whether contact's going to be made. But I like his mental strength. But Yusuf Shabek is right behind Burmeister, so despite the bit of a tyre advantage there for Burmeister, is not able to break out the DRS range of Yusuf. Same with MDJ, hasn't caught up towards Yusuf just yet, despite having a bit of a fresher tyre advantage as well. So MDJ there still in P10, right behind as well with that 3-second time penalty. Lord Danny Boy gets himself a 3-second time penalty. I wonder if that's his first penalty. It is. He gets his first penalty of the session. So respect for all those guys that haven't picked up penalty just yet in the Grand Prix, but I suggest that when a safety car comes out, a few people might not be happy. A few people who are further back, who do not have penalties, sometimes a safety car is an absolute blessing in disguise. If you run the whole race with no penalties, a safety car comes out, boom, you're up there, because a lot of people in front of you have penalties, and therefore you're able to take advantage as well. So let's see if that happens. It did happen last season and the season before as well. It did happen in Division 1 as well. But let's see if it happens here in Division 2 this season.
And Ayub Jr. is pretty close to Melnus there. He doesn't seem to be going for a move there. They are... Oh, Melnus is on very low ERS. And unlike Ayub, he is on 90% ERS. So Ayub might be going for a move before the pit stops start. And Neymar is in the pits. He will come out somewhere at the back. Jarm has some great pace. I saw him doing another fast lap. This is like the third one in a row already. So he is on an amazing like pace here.
Great pace indeed from the Haas driver as the yellow flag was brought out by S17, down at turn 4. So that's his second spin of the day for S17, and he drops further back into P6. So in the pit lane, where the Mercedes driver of Neymar, he changes for wing at the pit stops and also pits himself up a 10-second penalty, and that's why he's rejoined way further down than expected. He's on the bonus medium tyres, of course, and he does have a 10-second time penalty, 16 seconds there with two penalties, 3 second time penalties. There we go. As he's got a lot of penalties on his name, unfortunately. So that's going to be crucial towards in the Grand Prix in terms of his finishing position. Danny Boy then pits from third place. As in the pit lane goes Z17 and Yusuf, and Burmeister overtakes the Racing Bull driver and puts himself into P4 now, as the rest of the guys dive off into the pit lane. So 15 laps left to go in this race. MDJ now sets the... Burmeister gets a 3-second penalty, and that is down at turn number 1 then. So he cut the corner in towards turn 1. How crucial is that towards in the Grand Prix?
Yeah, that is a big mistake from him. He could have just managed it and stay within the limits, and it might have been easy to win. But now that's exactly what Ayub should do. He just has to manage this and not get any warnings, so he can get this race victory. The people who could win this race now are probably Yusuf and Ayub, since they are the only ones really battling for the lead without a penalty.
The top two are in the pit lane, sorry to interrupt, but Melnus and Velocio Jr. are in the pit lane to get rid of the hard compound tyres, to put on the mediums. Remember, Velocio Jr. does not have a 3-second penalty, so he could be the most likely to win this Grand Prix. Let's see, where does the top two rejoin in comparison towards Burmeister and Yusuf and MDJ? Let's have a look. They're trolling down the pit lane as Samit is in the pit lane as well. As Samit says, hi sexy. I'm not quite sure why he said that, considering you're racing. But anyways, as we head down towards turn 2, Burmeister takes the lead as they feed out into the race. Melnus in P2, and look at that, the Aston Martin on the outside off towards turn 3 is super close between those two, but MDJ is just a bit late to the brakes there. But Velocio Jr., I think for him, with 14 laps left to go, he has got the best tyres out of this lot. I know he's desperate to get past. I know he's desperate to try and get to first place. But remember, considering the track limits around here are so brutal and it can catch a lot of people out, he needs to be very wary and careful where he's going to overtake these people as well. Of course, you don't want to be stuck in the DS to P5, but you got to plan. You got to coordinate your attacks as well. Make sure you overtake your rivals, making sure you make the corner in the apex as well. Don't go out wide, and be very patient as well. That's Velocio Jr.'s kryptonite this season, not being very patient so far in terms of planning and coordinating his attacks, hence why he gets involved in a few incidents, I dare say. But this is his golden opportunity to win the Grand Prix, as Melnus now takes on Burmeister for first place, as I think Velocio Jr. might be a bit annoyed seeing Melnus up into first place, because remember, these two came to pit lane at the same time in first and second, but there's 4 cars separating first and fifth, as we see the drivers then go on to lap 22 as they're all bunched up right behind.
Yeah, considering Ayub is on the medium compound tires, he might be the biggest contender for the victory here. But Yusuf has the track position, as the other Yusuf sets the fastest lap of the race, and he's trying to get close to the Mercedes of Neymar.
Velocio Jr. in P5 then. Let's see, his first target to overtake is the Red Bull driver of MDJ. He's getting closer and closer in the corners, but where can he pounce? Where can he attack? There is 14 laps left to go. This is in the back, but here he is then, around the outside, in towards turn 10. It's a late breaking move. He goes wide at the corner. Make sure to make contact on the exit, but he's getting closer and closer, forcing MDJ to go on the defensive shape. Here he is with the DRS wide open. They both got DRS on the back of the RB, but MDJ with a bit more battery slots into P4, still ahead of the Aston Martin, which is going to infuriate Velocio Jr. even more. So where can he overtake it? MDJ now gets a good run and out of the final corner, putting pressure on Yusuf Shabek for P3 as well as we head down towards turn 1. Yusuf Farouk gets ahead of Samit, puts himself into P8. He's on a bonus set of medium compound tyres, chasing down after Neymar and Yarm as well. Maybe P6 could be his best, considering he does not have any penalties. Same with Samit as well in P9. Lord Daddy Boy is right behind Samit as well for the battle for P9, P10 and P11. Zenum is on the back of this DRS train as well, but back towards the front end of the field there. Velocio Jr. can't seem to find a way past so far. Has to do it again.
Another one. And OWR Xenon gets another penalty. I think he's already on 15 seconds there. Yeah, that's insane. And while I'm checking the penalties, I also see Neymar probably sped in the pit lane because he has 16 seconds of penalty. So that will make him drop out of the top 10. As Yusuf has fell out of the DRS there, and MDJ gets by, and that's Ayub also getting by, and this is for the lead of the race, for the net lead of the race. So that's very interesting, and considering he is also on the faster compound of tires, the mediums, this might be the race. Oh, and that's even worse for Yusuf. So basically Veloz Ayub Jr. just has to keep it within the lines, and he can get this victory.
He wants to win it on the track, of course, so Velocio Jr. just needs to bide his time and wait for the perfect moment to overtake MDJ. The reason why Yusuf Shabek fell out of DRS range is because he's on slightly older tyres, and therefore the guys ahead are just able to pull away with a bit extra grip as well. So it's all down to this man. Can he get his first win of the season? We've waited so long for this as well. He's had 2 podiums so far this season, back in Belgium and back at the Japanese Grand Prix. Here he is in Canada, searching for his first ever win in SFR. Can he do it as well, as he's now right at the back of MDJ with the battery, with the DRS? As you can see, that there's a yellow flag down there. Here comes Velocio Jr., who puts himself into P3. Burmeister takes the lead of the Grand Prix, and now Velocio Jr. is in a prime position to win. Now he needs to make sure he does not pick up a 3-second penalty, because he's on a level playing field essentially with Monas and Burmeister. So the main important job for him is not to pick up a penalty.
The yellow flag was for Sennen again. He has spun into the wall, exiting one of the chicanes. I'm not sure what corner that exactly is. I think it's 8 and 9, and he pits to repair his front wing probably. Will he pit for the mediums or the softs for these 10 laps?
Let's have a look to see if he pits on to another set of mini compound tyres to take towards the end of the Grand Prix as well. Surprised, not the soft compound tyres, but I don't think he had the confidence to go on the soft says. So it's down towards Velocio Jr. to see if he can win this Grand Prix. The only person that can beat Velocio Jr. is himself, because if he picks up a 3-second penalty, therefore he has to do the hard work again on the track. He wants to win on track, but how much risk are you willing to take? What's going through his mind right now as Monas overtakes Burmeister for P1 once again, as those two fight for pride on the track? But what's going through Velocio Jr.'s mind right now? Because we all like to win on the track, but knowing that there's a big chance of winning the Grand Prix, knowing that your rivals ahead of you have a 3-second penalty, how much risk are you willing to take as he sets the faster play Grand Prix? So he's absolutely flying is Velocio Jr. As somebody says that OWR need demotion. I think you're talking about Zenom there, P15, who needs potentially a demotion, but he doesn't, because if he's in Division 3, he'd just dominate. I know he will, because he's an absolute quick driver, but he just makes one too many mistakes and he overdrives the car way too much. He basically drives the car like it's time trial every single lap. He drives the car like it's a qualifying lap every single lap. And we've seen it plenty of times as well, as Samit is right at the back of Neymar, who is vulnerable as he has no DRS, but there's contact between the Alpine and the Mercedes there. And here comes the Alpine or the RB around the outside. That is Yusuf Farouk but he doesn't go for the move just yet. Now he is down to all his contact again. It's off the track. He spins the car. Where's the Tsunoda spun? Last year as well, as he goes for another spin as well, and that has pretty much ended his chances of getting inside the top 10. But he's still in his top 10 right now, but President Elite is there in P11. But what a shame there for Yusuf Farouk.
For the lead, we just saw the gap come up to his second there. So if Burmeister and Ayub Jr. are fighting for this P2 on track, maybe Melnus could even be a contender for the victory, even with that 3-second time penalty, since Ayub will be trying to get us. There's a yellow flag, I'm not sure for what, and the gap has got up to a second. I'm not sure if... No, Burmeister doesn't have the DRS anymore, so that will allow Veloz Ayub Jr. to get a lot closer and try to get this victory on track.
That's what he needed. He needed that DRS to break up. Therefore, it'd be easier to overtake Burmeister because Burmeister will have the DRS at the back of Melnus, but not this time. So this is a golden opportunity for Velocio Jr. Look at that. Look at the speed he's already gaining there because the Williams is derated as the DRS is enabled then for the Aston Martin. He puts himself into P2 ahead of the Williams there. Not quite sure what the Williams was doing. He just let him go simply. I think he knows fate and therefore just let him go up to P2. Now, it is the battle for the lead of the Grand Prix, and there's a yellow flag down there once again in the hairpin. Is that Klusler who made a mistake? I'm not quite sure who that was.
Neymar, who went for a little spin on the exit.
Seems to have collected it, and he's back there in P9. What a miserable race there for Neymar ever since he picked up that damage, because he was looking very strong in the early stage of the Grand Prix as he's in the pit lane then to put on a potential set of the soft compound tyres. But what a shame for Neymar there as well in P9. He was running very strong in the first opening stage of the Grand Prix until he picked up that damage in the second stint and had to place it, and he picked up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But the DRS is open for Velocio Jr. He needs to make sure that it's a clean, cynical overtake. There is no point going side by side with this man. He might as well get the DRS to the back of him, slip past him, making sure that he doesn't get forced into an unforced error. Maybe because Melnus might think about getting Velocio Jr. penalty, because you never know how many warnings are on. So therefore, Melnus, we see this in the past where the drivers for first and second, when one of them don't have a penalty, the other one try and force them with a penalty, not push them too wide, but making them go into a mistake like outbraking themselves, etc., or going a bit wide in the exit. So let's see then if Melnus can use legal tactics to try and get Velocio Jr. a penalty. I've seen it before plenty of times when it happens as well, but sometimes it can go illegal as well. But let's see if to keep it nice and clean. Melnus once again finds himself leading a race once again, but unfortunately not going to win for the second time in a row despite being in first place, because he does have a penalty like in Qatar as well. We lost the lead of the Grand Prix Qatar due to a 3-second penalty. MDJ's dropped away quite a lot as well.
And Ayub will be looking to pass Melnus for the victory on track too, so he gets a better taste of that victory and also win it on track. But he does have to keep it within the white lines because there's still 6 laps remaining, and Atlas Coppo gets 3 seconds. He is far back anyways, and 2 Mercedes are having such a bad race here. It's a shame. Oh, and that's a big send from Neymar there, and he rejoins pretty unsafely and hits his own teammate there and breaks his front wing.
Not quite sure what's going on between those two there. Atlas Coppo and Neymar, they're usually clean drivers, but unfortunately they've hit each other, and looks like Atlas Coppo's came off worse. What a poor race from Atlas Coppo, because this man won the Canadian Grand Prix last season. Then all of a sudden he finds himself in 50th place, also known as last. So what a difference a season can make as well. As we see then, the top 2, there is 5 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. There's nothing to lose for Melnus. He's just driving his own race so far. But Burmeister seems to be creeping there in the background in P3. So despite being on the hard compound tyres, he has not drifted away from this battle just yet. Burmeister, who has had a lot of wins this season, who's had 4 wins this season, most out of anybody. And Yuji Shebek as well has also had a lot of wins this season in P2. But Burmeister's had the most. He's looking for his 5th win this season, trying to extend his margin and the championship lead over Yusuf Shebek. But it's going to be a bit difficult with Velocio Jr. on the mini compound tyres. Doesn't have a 3-second penalty as Neymar picks himself up another penalty as well. Penalty galore during this Grand Prix, but respect for Jr. for Samid, Yusuf Farouk, President Elite for not picking up a 3-second penalty. Alex Copo and Zenom are fighting over for the fast lap of the Grand Prix in 14th and 15th there. But surprisingly, F1 Shorts or Tibber, there's been no retirements so far in this Grand Prix.
I was just gonna say it. I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Great minds think alike, don't they?
Yeah.
4 laps left to go in this Grand Prix then, with Melna still leading with Velocio Jr. P2. The gap is 5/10 of a second. You can see that Velocio Jr. has spent the last few laps recharging his EOS there because he knows that he has the advantage in terms of no penalties. So therefore, use that EOS, save it up and charge it up, ready for the last lap attempt. Last lap attack as well. Let's see then where Velocio Jr. strikes as well. How hard is Marlon's going to defend against the Aston Martin driver? Will he let him go simply, or will he put up a fight and try and defend against the Aston Martin? But he goes deep in towards turn 10, and that gives all the impetus and all the encouragement the Aston Martin needs to get closer. Now with the DRS wide open, this should be taking candy from a baby, and it is. He puts himself into first place for the lead of the Grand Prix. And now let's see, can he pull away, or will second and third stay behind him and use the DRS to back him as well? Here comes Burmeister still on the hard compound tyres there, still looking very good in P3. Now he's putting pressure on Melnus for P2 as he goes around the outside. It's a late send, but he goes a bit deep, and here comes Melnus. Velocio Jr. goes a bit deep as well into towards turn 2 as now to make contact out of turn 2. Let's see, Melnus just stays ahead for the time being, but what a late send there for Burmeister. He went a bit deep, and Melnus got back around the outside of him.
Yeah, that would have been an amazing overtake there. And Burmeister is looking to overtake. Oh, for both of them, a little snap on the exit there. Almost lost it into the wall for the McLaren and the Williams.
Yeah, simultaneously as well as you see turn 6 and turn 7 there. Melna struggling just a bit with the midi compound tyres. Of course, the mediums now maybe starts to come towards the end of their peak performance. And Burmeister around the outside, double locks up, goes deep as Melna's there. Will he do a switchback? A lovely switchback for Burmeister. The move is not complete just yet, and there's a bit of contact between those two there as they bang front wheel and rear wing as well. But here comes Burmeister with the DRS wide open once again. It's side by side, but he backs out. Very clever from indeed. He knows that Burmeister's leading the championship, so therefore he does not want to lose any points by making any sort of silly mistake as well. Have you noticed, Tibber, the clouds gathering in?
Yeah, but with only 3 laps remaining, I'm not sure if the rain is going to fall, but we might get a little bit on the final lap. That might be possible and could change the race.
We saw it back in Singapore. There was 2 laps left to go, and the rain came pouring down as well, and it absolutely drenched the circuit within the space of 2 laps. No joke either. As here comes Burmeister with the DRS and the battery once again, but Melnus responds. He repents the attack against Burmeister as he has to stay in P3. This is the tense battle for P2 as well between these two. They're going at it there because they know a chance for P2 is on. Burmeister wants to extend the championship lead ahead of Yusuf Shabek, but how much risk is he willing to take against the McLaren driver as we exit turn 10 then? Away we go once again, and let's see. Burmeister's tyres theoretically should be in better shape than the top 2 as well, so maybe the grip is coming back, maybe the tyre wear on the midi compound tyres is started to replenish a bit as well, hence why they're struggling just a bit in the heavy traction zones as we head towards the final 2 corners we go. And Neymar picks himself up a 3-second penalty. We're on lap 34 out of 35. Melnus has done a sensational job defending against Burmeister, but how long can he keep that Williams at bay? Because the Williams keeps pounding and attacking on him as well, as Jarwin picks himself up a 3-second penalty in the Grand Prix.
And the pressure is on Ayub, since I've experienced this feeling too. When you keep getting P2s and stuff, when you're battling for the lead for and you're tasting the victory, the pressure is getting very high there, and it might lead him into a mistake, but he just has to manage it and stay within 3 seconds of the rest and stay within the for the penultimate time.
We do indeed. Burmeister is right at the back of the McLaren driver. Look at the ERS he's stored up, almost 100%. So all the battery is going to be used in attack and defense mode. The clouds are gathering in as we watch the battle for P2. Burmeister is not going to go for the move in towards the final few corners, but they all bunch up right behind the Aston Martin driver as we exit the final few corners. We're heading on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. This is a battle you're watching between Magnus and Burmeister as we head down towards turn 1. Let's see. Burmeister tries to go on the outside. There is contact in towards turn 1, and Burmeister could not pull the move off there, but anything could happen because we never know. Let's see what happens going in towards the chicane in the last few laps. Well, in the last lap of the Grand Prix, 4.3 kilometers left to go around this race circuit, and so far all 50 drivers have stayed in this race. There was about 2 or 3 safety cars last season with the wet weather and the dry as well, but this season has been no safety cars, absolutely no retirements on this track. This race has absolutely flown by as we still see some more action between these two. The action is not over yet though, because Magnus and Burmeister are still fighting for the battle for P2. And Burmeister trying to gain every single bit of ERS he can by downshifting, upshifting, downshifting, try and get a bit more ERS in his disposal. Now we exit turn 10. The battery once again is being used. Magnus low on battery. Burmeister, is this his biggest chance to get Magnus? He's derated down the straight as here comes Magnus for the lead of the Grand Prix. He overtakes him, but he's going a bit deep. He doesn't, as Magnus there with the DRS open, but here comes Velocio Jr. He can't get it back. Here comes Burmeister. Oh, Velocio Jr. takes him on, but Velocio Jr. wins the Canadian Grand Prix for the first time this season. What an outstanding performance from Junior, who wins around here in Canada. Magnus finishes in P2 and Burmeister in P3 as well. What a fantastic drive. What a great race it's been between all these drivers. A bit of chaotic from time to time, but still, that's the Canadian Grand Prix for you. Samid, great drive for him in P5 as well, with Yusuf Shabek in P6 for him after pitted very early in the Grand Prix. Didn't seem to pay any dividends for him later on in the Grand Prix either. Finishes in P6. And F1 Schultz Tipper, have you enjoyed this race, mate, for your first time?
Yeah, it was such a good race. Very clean battles out there. As you can see, 0 DNFs on a street circuit, not to forget that fact. And that's an amazing performance for every driver here, for staying in the race and keeping it clean out there.
Indeed it is then. So at the end of it, Magnus defended against Burmeister. Burmeister did outdrag Velocio Jr., but because of those penalties, it shuffled him back into P3. And well done to the man who finished in first for the first time this season. A long time coming indeed. He's finally done it, and this time with no penalties to his name. So Velocio Jr. then takes the victory around here in Canada, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that one indeed. I'm pretty sure that the confidence will be built back up after a few races where it has gone wrong for him, but he never gives up. That's the most important part, and he wins for Aston Martin. I'm pretty sure that Evan Mansell and Electro Dan will be very happy to see that the Aston Martin is back towards the top end of the field there. And President Elite finishes in P10 with that front wing damage as well from starting in 15th place. But Sammy, great job for him in P5 despite spinning in the final corner on the very early stages of the Grand Prix. A lot of these drivers have their own mistakes in this Grand Prix, but the man who made no mistakes or who made the less mistakes and had no penalties was the one that finished in first place, which was Velocio Jr. Great drive indeed. As we have the podium interviews as well, so let's see if the top 3 join the podium interviews and we can get going with all 3 of them. Let's see if that does happen. They do join the podium interviews. I had Magnus with me. Sorry, that sounded wrong. I had Magnus with me last week, and hopefully he does join again.
And I want to mention something. Burmeister has only finished outside of the podium places in 1 race this season. So this is his 11th podium of the season already. And that's some amazing consistency.
You've done your research there, mate. Nice one. Great point indeed, because he had 1 DNF, and that 1 DNF was back at the Qatar Grand Prix as well. So that's the only reason why he had a DNF. But yeah, let's see then if the top 3 do join the podium interviews. They like to speak to me. I know Burmeister always likes to speak to me because he always asks me if the podium interviews are on. Let me tag them. Burmeister does like to cool off because he knows he's been in a very sweaty situation, so therefore needs to cool down a bit. high pressure stuff indeed when it comes to leading. And we're just waiting for the top three to join the PWP series. If they don't, then good news for me because I could just head straight off and just chill out for a bit. But if they do, then we get to hear what they have to say. Usually to be here by now, so I wonder what's going on between all three of them there. The party is open for them to join, so they should be here. Apologies about the delay and the wait. We are just getting our drivers in and we can set sail for the podium interviews then. Here it is, our race winner, and he stands on top of the podium for the first time here in SFR this season. Give a big round of applause. It is Velocio Jr. who wins the Canadian Grand Prix. He now joins us in the podium pen. Velocio Jr., welcome, mate. How do you feel after that race? Your first win of the season. I can hear you laughing as well. How intense was it out there on the track? Because we've seen that you were in a big fight throughout the whole race. You had MDJ attacking you immediately in the first lap in towards the final few corners, and you did a very good job as well, like defending and attacking at the same time, planning your overtakes at the right time as well. So how difficult was it to try and stay with the track limits under such good pressure? It has taken you a while to be on the top step of the podium because I know you had your incidents in the last few races as well, and yeah, it seems like it's taking you a while, but it's better late than never, it must be said. And there's still 4 or 5 races left to go this season as well to try and get more wins out of you as well. So, what's changed from now since then? Because you are actually a few points behind Yusuf and Yarum in the championship, so maybe P2 could be in the cards for you in the championship as well. So, what's your next steps? Are you trying to take it cautious? Well, obviously not, but are you looking to try and strive once again in the next coming races? That's a very good point indeed. The Constructors Championship, which I did not talk about at all, so that's a very interesting subject to talk about as well, because I believe Aston Martin, if not, are super close, and you're P3, so that could be a bit of a stretch, but maybe with the good results recently, you could get P2 or P1, so let's see if that does happen or not. But Williams all have lost a driver as well, so yeah, Williams don't have that second driver, so let's see then how all unfolds. But how would you rate your season as a whole? Are you a little bit disappointed with some results? Because I've known that there has been a potential within you, but at the same time, though, mistakes have creeped in the last few races. So how do you rate your season overall? Well, good luck to you indeed. And the next race is at the Miami Grand Prix. So I'm not looking forward to it because I hate Miami. But how are you? How are you looking forward to it? Are you looking forward to the Miami Grand Prix? Thank you very much. And Tibber, have you got any questions for Velocio Jr.?
I have a question. If you had a penalty, do you think you would have won? Like, would have been more aggressive and could have been battling for the lead as well? Yeah, of course.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much
thank
there
you.
for you, Velocio Jr. And we move on to Burmeister as well. Burmeister, congratulations on another podium. A disappointing race in Qatar, but we forgot about that one, didn't we? And now we move on to Canada. Unfortunately, mate, you picked up that 3-second time penalty, and it really cost you towards the end as well. You were challenging Melners, but unfortunately, you just couldn't seem to get him.
Yeah, that's true. And what you said at first, let's forget about last week because I was really frustrated. Someone moved and I got front wing damage in turn one, I think. And then I was like, yeah, this track is so wide, impossible, safety car. And then on the stream I saw safety car and I pitted. The first time it did replace my wing, so I had to pit again. And I was 1 minute behind the field and I was like, yeah. I couldn't get over that and I quit it, but today I knew it's like an old-fashioned track with grass and limits, and then I knew I was quick here because I won it last year. And yeah, in the end, good fight by both of them because they were quick in the beginning of their medium sim, but as they told, I knew I was better last 5 laps maybe, but then in the end, Samad, I think, defended very well to me using the right DRS, and I backed out a couple times just because I'm gathering points to win my own championship. And the constructors I don't mind anymore, I got most of them there, but my teammate left, so I don't mind constructors, I just want the drivers championship. And great deal by them, and I hope they win the constructors.
Yeah, that's very important because you haven't mentioned about your teammate leaving. So Oliver, who was working very, very well with you in the last season and this season as well towards the beginning. But have you spoken to Oliver recently? Have you tried to get in contact with him because you two worked really well? I know that you two were looking forward to the season as well in terms of having a full season together, but that hasn't happened as well. So how has it been like without a teammate in the last few races?
Well, maybe more focused, and I don't know why Oliver left. It was all of a sudden. I asked him, but he didn't reply to me, and I'm sure it isn't because of our like how we are together, but maybe something in the league. I don't know. And like I was holding the constructors by then also, so I don't know why he left. Something must have happened. Maybe the admin role for him was too much. I did it once, and yeah, it's a lot of effort, and it keeps your focus away of racing because of inviting people just 5 minutes before, and your whole race focus is gone. Then it costs you like half a second, I think.
Yeah, I did notice that as well when admin did affect him, and it had to be given to other people as well, like Mansell, and now MDJ has the pleasure to host the lobbies, but it has an effect on you. I've been a hobby loose as well, and a racer too. It just puts a lot of stress on you because you've got to get every single driver in. Plus, you've got to make sure every single setting is correct as well. One slight slip up in the setting means a lobby restart or something goes wrong with the lobby as well. But you yourself, mate, have done an absolute outstanding job because Tipper says that you finished outside the podium twice this season. One in Belgium because you were sick, and one in Qatar because I think, yeah, obviously that probably damaged at the start. But ever since then, every single race you've been, you've been very well. You feel like just
Yeah,
podium all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm there, and as I said, I'm just fighting for the championship and keeping an eye to my next rival. And I saw Youssef was struggling a bit, halfway stints, and then he got attacked by MGJ, I think. And afterwards, the gap was pretty big, and I think he was P6 or P7. So P3 is fine for me. Gaining the championship maybe 55 or 60 points, I don't know, but the championship is getting shorter and only 4 left, so it's all looking good.
It's looking good, bro. As what's the next? How do you feel for the Miami Grand Prix, Burmeister?
Yeah, I don't like those new circuits. As I told you, I'm from the legend circuits like Japan, Belgium, everything with grass around it, and all the fake circuits which are added in the last 10 years, they can disappear tomorrow for me.
Well, I agree as well, because I don't exactly like the new circuits either, like the old legendary circuits, so I completely concur with you there, Burmeister. And once again, Burmeister, Donkey Val, thank you for talking to us.
Yeah, thanks.
Tipper, got any questions for Burmeister, your fellow Dutchman?
Yeah, I do have one question. Do you think it might be possible to get this constructors on your own, or do you think that's over and it's just about the drivers now?
Yeah, I never mentioned the constructors anyway, but I had a good cooperation last season with all of us, so I invited him to be my teammate this season, and then what we said, it was a bit distracting for him. But I was keeping it up with some good races, and I'm trying to keep him motivated, but he had bad results. But still, I was supporting him, sending him setups, tactics, fuel-wise, everything. But something must have happened, and he left the league, unfortunately. But your question is, can I get a loan? Well, maybe, but I'm not looking at the championship.
Alright, thanks for your answer, and I think we'll move on to the P3 man, if he is here.
He's not. He's not.
Oh.
I was a P3 man.
Oh.
Because Mel just switched to P2, didn't he? But he's not joining the podium interview.
Oh. Okay, sorry for that.
It's okay. So thank you, Burmeister. And Tipper, our first time commentating together, mate. Thank you very much. It is very late notice indeed, so you had no time to prepare at all. You had no preparation, no knowledge about this league, and I think, mate, you've done a very good job as well for commentating. So well done today, mate. You did a fantastic job.
Much.
You're welcome, mate. As we move on to the Miami Grand Prix for Division 2, and Jordan's back for the Canadian Grand Prix in Division 1, and I'm pretty sure in Division 1 the championship is much more alight and much more closer to as well. So Jordan's back for Division 1, hopefully between me and Owen Mansell, if not somebody else, or probably Tipper if he's free. But anyways, we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now, and enjoy the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix this weekend. We didn't even talk about Bahrain, but we'll talk about it tomorrow.